Hey guys, welcome back. I am Nina Silic, nutrition and lifestyle coach, and today I'm going to tell you the number one mistake you're making every time you diet. I know many of you have always struggled with dieting. Trust me, I have been there too in the past where dieting was a real struggle because you diet, you lose all the weight, then you either gain it back or you gain it back and you gain back even more weight after you finish the diet. And then you kind of get into this mindset of, oh my gosh, I feel really uncomfortable in my skin. I need to diet again. And then the next time you diet, you have to diet even harder. Things are even harder the next time, and you might not even get as much weight off. And then life happens, you fall off the wagon, you gain it all back, and you see where I'm going with this. It's like a very, very vicious cycle. I know you've been there, I've been there, and it's definitely not a fun place to be. So here is the main reason I see people struggling with losing weight and keeping it off. You are not asking yourself the question, is it a good time for me to diet? That's it. I know it sounds random. I know it sounds like, what am I watching this video for? But trust me, it's a really important question you need to ask yourself every time you're considering going on a diet. Is it a good time for me to start a diet? And let me tell you why. So why do we need to ask this question? Why is this question so important? I'm going to tell you why. First, what you need to understand is that dieting has consequences. So every time you diet, and when I say diet, I mean you are going into a calorie deficit. You are reducing your calorie intake somehow to burn more calories than you are consuming. This, every single time, has consequences. Yep, all these consequences we don't think about. Every time you diet, you signal to your body that you're going into famine. You're essentially starving yourself in a controlled way. So your body does not like that. It's like alarm bells. Why don't I have enough food? I'm not getting fed. I don't want this to happen. I want to stop this from happening. That is exactly what your body is thinking every time you diet. Your body is very good at adapting. So it triggers this self-defense system every time it doesn't get enough energy. And when you diet for longer, and if you go more extreme, the stronger this self-defense system is going to activate. This is why we see it getting harder and harder to lose body fat every single time you diet, especially if you're not taking that care after every diet to improve your metabolic rate again, or your metabolism. And so many of us don't do that. You might have heard of this term called metabolic adaptation. I know that sounds a bit scary, fancy, scientific, but it's really not. It's basically just your body adapting to the amount of calories that you are taking in. So as you diet, you go from calories that are maybe here at 2,000, for example, and they slowly get lower. Your body wants to stop you from losing weight. So your metabolism adapts to those calories and decreases in rate. This is why then at the end of the diet, when you go to eat food normally, or you fall off the wagon and you start consuming more calories, your body gains fat really, really fast because your metabolic rate is now over here, but we're getting more energy, more calories we're consuming. So there's a gap there and we gain a lot of fat. Happens to all of us. It's happened to me so many times until I knew better. So we want to stop this from happening, right? And to stop this from happening, we need to be in a really, really good place before we start a diet. We don't want to be in this vicious cycle of dieting. So what are some things we need to look out for when we ask ourselves the question, is it a good time to really be starting a diet? The first thing you need to consider is, are you already consuming really low calories? Because if you're already consuming low calories and your body is maintaining weight on those calories, we can assume your metabolic rate or your metabolism is already much slower and lower. So to get any more progress and to be able to lose any more fat, we're gonna have to decrease those calories further. And if you're already maintaining weight on say 1,200 calories, that's not going to be realistic. That's not going to be sustainable, and we're just going to be doing more damage to that metabolism that's already wanting to adapt. Remember, our body likes to defend ourselves against dieting. It doesn't want to lose any more weight. So if we get more extreme, it's going to get even harder to get the fat off, and we're going to see more of those dieting consequences happening. We also need to consider, do you have a history of yo-yo dieting? So that cycle of losing weight, gaining it back, gaining more back, restricting, gaining, restricting, gaining. If you are somebody that has a pretty strong history of that, then it's going to be much harder for you to start a diet phase if you haven't put in the work to repair your metabolism. So if you haven't done that and you haven't put in that groundwork, you really need to consider whether it's a good time for you to be dieting. Are you constantly overeating your target calories? Okay, so let's say a deficit for you is maybe 1,500 calories, but you're constantly finding yourself just craving food, wanting to eat more, and maybe you're eating 1,700 to 1,800 calories and you're just not losing weight. You might think you're in a deficit, but if you're actually tracking your food accurately, you're probably more at maintenance. If this is a struggle for you and you just can't stick to the targets that are necessary for you to lose fat, then it's not a good time for you to be doing it. At the end of the day, you can only get results if you can stick to what you need to do. So there are plenty of reasons that can stop you from being able to adhere to those calories, and we need to work on those first before we can start dieting. Something to consider is that your body might fight against you really, really hard during the diet. There's many reasons why it can do this. Remember, your body has a self-defense system and it wants to stop you from dieting, and for some people, that's not too strong, and for others it's really strong. And even getting deeper into the diet, you can notice those triggers enhancing and your body fighting more and more and more against you wanting to lose fat. So you might even get towards the end of your diet and find your body is fighting hard against fat loss, and that may be a good time to even stop your diet. Or if you find that happening at the start of trying to diet, it might not be a good time for you to continue dieting. Let's consider that everything else looks really good so far. You maybe have a really good amount of calories that you're eating, you feel really good, your body's not fighting you, might look like a good time to start a diet. But let's say your energy levels are really low. That might be an indication there's something else going on with your body that you need to work on. If everything else ticks all the boxes, but your energy levels suck, maybe you're not getting enough sleep. Over here, mum life, story of my life, not sleeping, so I'm definitely not dieting. It can be really, really difficult in a diet to get even more energy because you're cutting calories. You are reducing energy intake. So if your energy levels already suck, then it's probably not a good time to start dieting. So work on your energy levels first. Next thing to really think about is, how much are you training? Are you resistance training? Are you doing crazy hours of cardio? You know, if you are maintaining on low calories especially, and then you're already doing hours and hours of cardio in your week, that is too much going on with your body. You're gonna be triggering that self-defense system like crazy, and your body is just gonna fight you. So when you start a diet, you really want to be in a place where your calories are high and you're not doing a crazy amount of activity, so you can use those activities as a tool to help put you in a deficit when you reach plateaus. So that's an important thing to consider before you start a diet. So these are just some signs and symptoms you might want to look out for when you're asking yourself, hey, is it really a good time for me to start a diet? For some of you, the answer is going to be no. And what you need to do in that case is do the things that you need to do, such as reverse dieting, for example, which is adding extra calories in over time to help improve your metabolic rate. That is going to set yourself up for a very successful diet phase. And that's what you really need to be working towards every time you diet, is putting these things in place that are going to make your diet a success, so you can keep weight off and keep it off for the long run. So I hope you guys have found that helpful. Make sure next time you start to diet, you really do ask yourself if it's a good time for you to start. If you're not sure, you can always reach out to me. I'm always happy to hear from you guys. If you like this video, and I know you do, give me a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe. And yeah, that's all I got today. See you next time.